Hi, I'm Ashley, and today I'm going to talk about how to make your very own to-go crochet kit. I'm also going to discuss some different considerations for traveling with crochet. So crochet is an awesome hobby to travel with because it doesn't require a lot of stuff and it's pretty compact. It's also really quiet, so you can do it really anywhere, think playing or even like at church while the pastor's preaching or in a train, wherever you are, you can do crochet. The list of things you need to crochet is pretty short. So you need yarn, you need crochet hooks, you need a measuring tape, you need darning needles, bobby pins or safety pins in lieu of stitch markers, but if you have stitch markers, I guess you could take those as well. Nail clippers to cut your yarn, and I'll discuss that more in a minute, and then your crochet pattern. So now let's look at each of those things individually. So first we have yarn. One thing to think about when you are taking crochet to go is that you want to only take the amount of yarn that you're going to need for your project. And you probably want to choose a project that doesn't require a ton of yarn because this is your bulkiest item. So you don't want to go overboard here. Some different things you can consider. If you're only working on one project, obviously all your yarn can go together. But if you plan on working on multiple projects throughout your trip or vacation or wherever you're traveling, you would probably want to separate the yarns for each project so that you only have to grab one and it makes it quick and easy to go. So one thing that I recommend is to put all the yarn for a single project in like a Ziploc bag. And so this is a gallon size Ziploc, and you can see it easily holds these, a ball and 2 skeins of baby yarn, but it would hold weight for yarn just fine also. And then I stuck a printed chart in here too. That's the chart that I, would be using for this yarn. You could also throw your other items that you need just in this bag. And there you go. You just grab it and go, and you're in good shape. This also allows you to separate out the yarn. So for example, if you're traveling, by air, you might want to just put one of your projects in your carry-on bag, but you plan on working on multiple projects while you're at your destination. And so those projects could go in your checked bag, and you just grab the one that you're going to work on in the airport and on the plane. So next is crochet hooks. You could definitely just take the single crochet hook that you need for your projects. So for example, if you're just going to take like a single Ziploc bag, just throw the one crochet hook in there. But I tend to keep all my crochet hooks together. I like to use something that's going to sort them so that they're really easy to access. So something like a rolled paintbrush holder, like I have here, where it has the little slots for paintbrushes, works great for crochet hooks. Keeps them from getting all mixed up, makes it easy to find which one you want, and it's a little bit quieter than something like a pencil case or just something that's loose. So my crochet tote here actually came with a little like pencil case basically to hold stuff, but I don't like having to dig around to find the stuff in here, so I use something else, but this works as well. You can also get something dedicated to crochet hooks. They have crochet hook organizers that you can obviously use as well. The third item is a tape measure. So I recommend getting like a fabric tape measure for sewing or one of the little retractable ones. So like this one, that it's very compact and easy to travel with. And that can just go in your kit or, in your crochet hook holder, wherever you want to throw it. Next is darning needles or yarn needles. So I always have a couple of these with my crochet hooks. So I have a plastic one and a couple of metal ones here. These are great for weaving in ends or for like sewing pieces of a project together or for adding embellishments. So I really like to have some yarn needles in my kit. So number 5 is bobby pins or safety pins. So I use these in lieu of stitch markers. I don't really like stitch markers. I find that a lot of the plastic ones that they sell are really flimsy and break easy. But if you disagree with me and you found some awesome stitch markers, let me know. I'd be open to checking it out. So let me know in the comments. But I use bobby pins because I have them around. So I just slip them here in, one of my little slots in my, this is actually a paintbrush holder, but my hook holder. And then I always have one kind of at the ready. Safety pins are also a good option, but I always find that I end up poking myself with them because I'm not very careful. So I also lose them. I don't know why I lose safety pins so easily, but they're always disappear on me. So I just use bobby pins, but whatever you like to use for stitch markers, you're going to want to throw that in your crochet kit. So number 6, I said nail clippers. So nail clippers work great for cutting yarn. Just make sure that you have a pair that's dedicated to your yarn, because maybe you find it a little bit weird or gross if you're clipping your nails and your yarn. So just have a pair dedicated and throw that into your kit. The reason that I suggest having nail clippers instead of scissors is that it doesn't matter which version of travel you're doing, whether it's air, or train, or boat, or whatever. Nail clippers are always allowed on those forms of travel. So you're not going to have issues getting through like security points with nail clippers, whereas you might with scissors. So at the time of filming this video, 2024, TSA does allow scissors on planes through security, but they have to be less than 4 inches from the pivot point to the tip. So if you're going to take scissors, just make sure that they follow those rules. But I also always recommend checking the TSA website before you go to make sure that there's no restricted items that you have. So the nail clippers are safe. If you're going to take scissors, just double check and make sure that they are going to be allowed in your carry-on. Finally, the pattern. So if you're going to be working from a hard copy, you definitely want to take that with you, right? So if it's a magazine or something you've printed out, make sure that that goes in your crochet kit. If you're going to be working from a digital pattern, I highly recommend that you download the pattern as a PDF to your phone or tablet or whatever you use. I wouldn't rely on a website that you would have to access and make sure it loads, because depending on how you're traveling, you might not have any signal where the website will actually load. So I know that sometimes when I'm like looking at stuff online and I go back and look at it later, it doesn't just open where I left off. It likes to reload the page. And if you're somewhere where you don't have signal, then it'll just say error or be blank. And that can be super frustrating. So just download it as a PDF to your phone or tablet so that you have access to it, no matter whether you have internet or not. So now that we know what to pack and why, let's look a little bit more about kind of how to pack it up. So I recommend having something that is compact and easy to carry, something that zips up so that nothing falls out, and then something with multiple pockets is always nice so that it's not all just thrown in one thing. And you're digging around trying to find things. If it has multiple pockets, it makes it easier to find what you're looking for. It's also a good idea to have something that's going to hold your yarn while you're working, because the last thing you want is for your ball of yarn to roll off onto the floor and go under a chair, and you're trying to like navigate these small travel places and pick it back up and make sure it doesn't get tangled or lost. Also, I don't really want my yarn rolling around on the floor of a plane. Kind of gross. So something that holds your yarn is going to be beneficial as well. Another thing to consider is the flexibility of whatever kind of packaging you use. So I used to use like a shoe tub thing, one of those plastic tubs with the lid, which works pretty well, but it's solid and it's firm, and so it doesn't fit everywhere. So if I tried to like shove that into a carry-on bag, or even keeping it down at the floorboard when I was riding in a car, it's a little bit annoying because it's not flexible. So I did shift to something more flexible, and that made it a lot more comfortable for me. So some suggestions that I have are like a small backpack, or a diaper bag that you no longer use as a diaper bag is a great option, or the Ziploc bags like I showed here. Now this doesn't have separate pockets, but it's very compact, and in this situation, I'm not bringing a ton of stuff. I might just throw the one crochet hook in there so I don't have to be digging around as much. So those are all great options. You can purchase a dedicated yarn tote like this one, which I really like, but if you're traveling like by air and you already have a carry-on, you might not want another dedicated bag to just your crochet. It's kind of big, but it's great to throw in if you're going by car. And this also, you know, it has these openings here, so you can have the yarn coming out through the openings, which I like. So you don't even have to like unzip it and dig out the yarn. You can have it coming through there. So this is a nice option for some forms of travel, but not all. So finally, I have some tips on what to crochet while you're traveling. Not all projects are travel friendly, so I just recommend choosing wisely when you are picking projects before you travel. So for example, that huge king size Afghan that you've been working on for a while, probably don't want to take that on the plane. It'd be a little annoying. So I definitely recommend go small or go home, literally. Just take the smaller projects on the road. Leave the big ones at home. Granny squares are usually a good like go-to project for travel because each single item is small, so it's easy to work on, you know, on your lap, and then you can stack them and shove them into a Ziploc bag or wherever, so they're easy to travel with, and you can join them when you're traveling, or you can wait and join them when you get home. So that's a good option for traveling. Some other options are beanies, scarves, baby clothing, coasters, Christmas baubles. I mean, the list really goes on and on. Let me know what some of your favorite like on-the-go travel crochet projects are. I would love to know. Just tell me in the comments. So just to reiterate, this is my personal recommendations for how to make a travel to-go kit. And the reason for that really is convenience, and because none of these items are going to be restricted in any form of travel. So this is kind of my go-to kit for when I'm traveling. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it and I hope you learned something. Make sure to check out my channel for tons more crochet content and have an awesome day.